Happy holidays. This is Luminousz Star. Welcome to my channel. For all of you who are current subscribers, thank you, my stars, for being my stars and keeping me motivated to keep this channel active. Everyone who's visiting for the first time, welcome to Luminousz Star. Happy holidays. And why don't you become one of the stars and hit that subscription button below. Today's video is why you keep thinking about the narcissist. I'm going to be going over a few points, a few tools, and please mind the description box below. Now, here is how you can stop thinking about the narcissist so much, especially during the holidays, right? All right, first point. What the mind focuses upon does grow. When one thinks or focuses upon anything, this is another way that he or she can have intentions, regardless if they clarify them to others or not. Mental focus plus intentions equals manifestations. So when we do this, there are certain things, whether pleasant or not pleasant, will manifest in our life. Second point, narcissists like to be paid attention to, whether that attention is deemed negative or positive. The narcissist is well supplied as long as one chooses to pay him or her attention. The narcissist counts on your willingness to recall and focus upon the part of your past that is painful, as long as it includes him or her. Next point. We are all comprised of energy. Emotion is energy that is in motion. The process of thinking, like feeling, takes energy. Humans tend to be creatures of habit. Therefore, what is familiar is what one usually gravitates towards. Unresolved traumatic and painful experiences are not excluded in this dynamic. Next point. Repeated thoughts of the narcissist and certain emotions that come with it is a habit that may be necessary to break down in order to effectively heal and thrive forward. Beating yourself up is not the answer. However, clarifying your intentions can be proven to be a real game changer. When you clarify your intentions, this will help you to manifest certain things in people and places in your life, whether that's pleasant or not pleasant. So beating yourself up isn't the answer. Just take steps to practice clarifying your intentions in regards to anything, whether that is whether or not to take a particular job, whether or not to become involved romantically with a person, whether or not to start a new relationship or not. Clarifying your intentions can absolutely prove to be a game changer. See, repeated thoughts of the narcissist and certain emotions that come with it is a habit. So this particular habit, we can probably say it's a bad habit. It's a habit nonetheless. See, human beings are creatures of habit. This is nothing to beat yourself up about. It's just, again, a human experience. So one way to look at how you continue to think about the narcissist is to just see it as a habit that you are working to break. Envision yourself breaking that habit, if necessary. Let's move forward. Choosing to interrupt dysfunctional behavior patterns is very challenging due to the process it takes to do so. Changing the way you think is a part of this process. However, without a willingness to practice emotional discipline, the process will move at a snail's crawl. So, emotional discipline is practicing mindfulness as one works to keep their ego and emotions in check. Mindfulness is another way of practicing self-regulation, which helps to balance emotions and thoughts. As long as one chooses to become reactionary instead of responsive, whereas the narcissist is concerned, he or she will continue to unconsciously provide supply to the narcissist due to energy transference. Emotion is your energy in motion. Your energy belongs to you. By focusing upon the narcissist, you unconsciously choose to allow the energy behind your thoughts and emotions to travel to the narcissist due to habit. So as I stated before in the previous slide, when we repeatedly think of the narcissist or focus on the narcissist, this is a habit that can be broken. Usually a person who continues to focus upon the narcissist, especially after going no contact, he or she would like to stop thinking about the narcissist so much. But again, this is not very easy, but it can be done. Usually a person does not think about this being a habit, that is thinking about the narcissist. We don't think about that as being a habit, but it is. What's familiar to us is what we usually gravitate towards, and that is due to simply being human. Let's move forward. The emotions that you experience due to focusing on the narcissist, whether pleasurable or not, is familiar to you. Like a highly addictive drug, regardless of the after effects, you will unconsciously seek to experience these effects repeatedly. So just like a drug, when a person has a particular effect that he or she experiences, they usually seek to experience it again because the drug is very addictive, even though the after effect may be very unpleasant. It's the same that goes with thinking about the narcissist over and over, not seemingly able to get him or her out of your mind. Again, this is a habit. It's highly addictive. The effects of thinking of him or her is, number one, a habit. Number two, highly addictive due to the effect or the after effect of doing so. Let's move forward. The heart speaks to the brain. The brain does not speak to the heart. The body remembers regardless of attempts to forget painful experiences. Pause. So the heart speaks to the brain. However, the brain does not speak to the heart. I'm going to get a little bit deeper into this further in the presentation. But try to keep this in mind. The heart speaks to the brain, but the brain does not speak to the heart. Our bodies do remember experiences. Every kiss, every touch, everything that our bodies have experienced, everything we have experienced, whether it's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, even physically, sexually, whatever, right? The body remembers, even when we try to forget all the things that we do to try to forget, whether that's self-medication, whether that's going into another relationship after a painful relationship has ended. Anything you can think of right now in your attempts to forget a painful experience, this is what we do. But the body remembers, regardless of those attempts to forget. Let's move forward. Traumatic and painful events in life are cognitively mapped onto the body. The message one continues to send from their heart to his or her brain concerning the narcissist is usually conflicted. Let's move forward. Individuals who may have a history of childhood trauma may be unconsciously, repeatedly attempting to right a wrong, especially in the case of trauma bonding. The reality or fact is that there was or continues to be a traumatic event, or at least signs of trauma, concerning the narcissist. Pause. So anything that is traumatic and painful yet unresolved concerning the narcissist is something that a person may unconsciously try to fix. So this is what I mean by repeatedly attempting to right a wrong, but doing it unconsciously. Let's move forward. Due to particular grooming techniques by the narcissist, those who are emotionally invested in an unhealthy relationship with him or her may continue to tell themselves that they love the narcissist, when in fact the history shows some discrepancies in the facts and his or her feelings about the narcissist. Pause. So this goes back to the previous slide when I was mentioning that the heart talks to the brain, but the brain does not talk to the heart. So when a person is dealing with the memory of a narcissist, even though those painful memories are there and they continue to think about the narcissist, one of the reasons is usually because he or she is trying to right a wrong. What is the wrong? That they were mistreated by the narcissist. What are they trying to get right? Well, one of the conflicting messages that is coming from the heart to the head concerning the narcissist. Example. You may say to yourself or think to yourself or actually feel that you love the narcissist. Now, this may or may not be true, but this is what's really important. That message is coming from your heart and going to your head. The conflict also deepens when you check the history. How has the narcissist treated you in the past? How do they continue to treat you? How do you feel about it? Do you feel good? Do you feel loved? Do you feel emotionally safe with him or her? Probably not. So the conflicting messages are from the heart to the head about the narcissist. In turn, one may try to attempt to right a wrong. Again, the wrong is that the narcissist has mistreated him or her, and they may attempt to right a wrong. The conflicting messages do not match the reality concerning the narcissist. Let's move forward. A person may unconsciously attempt to make sense of the crazy making by the narcissist by continuing to think and focus upon him or her, which supplies the narcissist. The feelings in his or her heart about the narcissist does not match up with the facts or the reality, whereas it pertains to the narcissist. Pause. Like I was just stating before, the feelings that a person may have in their heart concerning the narcissist rarely will match up with the actual reality or the facts. Fact number one, the narcissist is mistreating him or her. Fact number two, the narcissist does not show any signs of changing. Now, let's go over to the feelings within the heart of the person who states that they love the narcissist. Feeling number one, they love the narcissist. Feeling number two, he or she may have feelings of nostalgia. They may pinpoint good times or highlightable moments. They may pinpoint highlightable moments, whereas it looked promising. It looked like the narcissist was maybe coming around. So the feelings don't match the facts. This is where the conflict comes in. Translation: the brain does not speak to the heart, but the heart speaks to the brain. So the reality and the feelings will not match up concerning the narcissist. This is another reason why he or she continues to think about the narcissist. They're trying to unconsciously right a wrong. He or she is feeling love for the narcissist. However, the facts and the reality point out that the narcissist is not capable of loving him or her, or anyone for that matter. So again, the feelings in his or her heart about the narcissist does not match up with the facts or the reality concerning the narcissist, which keeps him or her focused on the narcissist. Let's move forward. Possible reasons for repeatedly thinking of the narcissist: not being able to give a cohesive narrative of what your painful traumatic experiences with the narcissist was or currently is. Your body knows that something is not right. These painful traumatic experiences are sensory imprints, which do not go away with any new experiences one may have after the traumatic event is over. Idealizing the narcissist and the quality of the relationship with him or her, while attempting to fix what isn't yours to fix. Attempting to make sense of the shenanigans, crazy making, along with all the tactics for source supply by the narcissist. I want to go to that first reason. Not being able to give a cohesive narrative of what your painful traumatic experiences with the narcissist was or currently is. See, the body does remember. Even if we cannot give a cohesive narrative of what's going on with us at the moment when we're thinking about the narcissist, we may be feeling all kinds of emotions. All kinds of thoughts are going through our heads. So if someone were to ask, what's going on with you? How are you feeling right now? When it pertains to the narcissist, right in the middle of our thoughts, we may not be able to give a cohesive narrative of what's going on with us. And this is where the body comes in. The body remembers the traumatic events concerning the narcissist, even when we attempt to try to forget. So when a person continues to think about the narcissist, or they repeatedly think of the narcissist, again, one of the main reasons is because he or she is unconsciously attempting to right a wrong. For instance, they may be thinking, how can I love a person who doesn't seem to love me? I know I love this person. I'm feeling it. I feel these emotions. However, the reality doesn't match. So this person attempts to unconsciously right that wrong. They're not able to give a cohesive narrative of what's going on with him or her at that moment. Yet, there are all of these emotions and feelings all over the place. There are all of these thoughts. Yet he or she cannot give a cohesive narrative of exactly what's going on with him or her. See, the narcissist and the cluster B personality, they continue to feed off of the energy field of individuals who continue to tell themselves that they love the narcissist, yet the reality or the facts don't match that. Okay, so the narcissist is still feeding off of the energy field of one who continues to think of him or her repeatedly. Now, this is no reason to beat yourself up. I just wanted to point out, why is it that some of us continue to think about the narcissist over and over? I'm just simply pointing out in this video some of the reasons why individuals continue to focus on the narcissist and think of him or her, and at the same time can't seem to turn that switch off. Okay, so let's continue with the possible reasons. Addiction to the body sensations and effects experienced due to certain emotions and thoughts regarding the narcissist and or cluster B personality. Unconsciously using the narcissist to divert from your own unresolved, painful, traumatic issues. Some narcissists have groomed children to behave codependently by his or her adulthood. Attempting to control the narcissist is a sign of codependent behavior. Pause. Okay, so addiction to the body sensations and effects experienced. So as I mentioned before, like a bad drug or a very highly addictive drug, individuals experience certain after effects, as well as the emotions and thoughts that come flooding through. This is part of the aftermath of the highly addicted drug called Narcissus. So let's just call that drug Narcissus. So after taking a hit of that drug, again, there's certain sensations, there's certain emotions that may come flooding through, as well as thoughts. This is another reason why a person repeatedly think of the narcissist, because he or she wants to feel the effects of that again, even though it may not be totally pleasant. We're creatures of habit, so we tend to gravitate toward what is familiar, regardless if it's pleasant or not, regardless if it's good for us or not, regardless if it's positive or negative. So addiction to the body sensations and effects experienced due to certain emotions and thoughts, okay, regarding the narcissist, is something that one unconsciously seeks due to the subconscious mind. We tend to gravitate not only to what's familiar, but we tend to look for scenarios to repeat, regardless if it's pleasant or not. So when a person is repeatedly thinking of the narcissist, again, this has something to do with that. Addiction to the body sensations and effects experienced, okay, that can be our emotions and thoughts. All of this is something that a person unconsciously seeks to experience over and over. Now, I wanted to point out a traumatic memory and just an original memory, even though it may be painful, is not the same. They're like night and day. So take the traumatic memory and take just an original painful memory, and you have to separate the two. You can even say they're on opposite sides of the same spectrum. The traumatic memory is not the same as an original painful memory. The reason why I keep saying original is because we can go back to when the painful experience started. Some of us may remember this. But when you remember a traumatic event, it is not the same as trying to or remembering an original painful event. Unconsciously using the narcissist to divert from your own unresolved painful and traumatic issues. Well, this is not my attempt to scold anyone. I just simply wanted to point out how sometimes children have been groomed by a narcissistic parent. Therefore, that child will grow up to behave codependently. A sign of codependence is unconsciously using others to control in order to divert from his or her own unresolved, painful, traumatic issues. Let's move on. First tool, discontinue idealizing the narcissist and the quality of the relationship with him or her. Research subconscious mind, childhood trauma, and implicit versus explicit memory. I want to point out implicit versus explicit memory. This will give you a little bit more detail of what I just mentioned about an original painful memory versus a traumatic memory. They're not the same. And the body as well as the mind responds differently to the two. So I want to encourage everyone watching to research implicit versus explicit memory. Next tool, remember that the narcissist has detached from certain aspects of themselves, which enables love and empathy for others. Therefore, he or she cannot possibly know you or open up to invite you to know them. Sincere love has not been a part of the unhealthy relationship with the narcissist at all. Pause. So right from the beginning, even if the narcissist psychs themselves into believing they truly do love you, it is not sincere love. This goes for anyone that you have had experiences with who may be a narcissist or have a cluster B personality. So the love is not sincere. He or she may have feelings. So feelings does not always match fact or reality. Keep that in mind. So the narcissist may absolutely be totally convinced that he or she loves you. What they're really saying is that they have some sort of feeling for you, which may not match reality. The reality is that the narcissist is not able to invest in a healthy relationship. So the narcissist may have feelings, but that does not mean that he or she sincerely loves. I think it's good to keep in mind that the narcissist has detached from his or herself, which enables empathy and love for others. So again, sincere love is out of the picture when it comes to the narcissist. He or she may have feelings, but again, feelings do not always match up with reality or facts. Take steps to incorporate new activities in your life and support base that does not include the narcissist and or cluster B personality. So I want to suggest to my stars especially, take some steps to incorporate new activities in your life, whereas that pertains to your support base or again, your life in general. So try to not include the narcissist so much. We're creatures of habit. So anything good that may happen, I know you may get the urge to share it with the narcissist. I want to encourage you to start taking steps to not include the narcissist in your life. So when good things happen to you, try to find an emotional outlet for that. Tell somebody else. Share your good news with somebody else. Take small steps to exclude the narcissist. What you want to include is people who will share some pleasurable experiences with you in your life. Incorporate new activities. There are so many things that you can do to incorporate new activities. Start taking some classes, any type of class you can think of. You know, you may want to learn how to draw. You may want to learn how to paint. You may want to start taking swimming lessons. You may want to go and learn how to write better, whatever, right? There's so many things you can do. Go kayaking, go hiking, go camping. I've tried some of those, by the way. I mean, there's so many new activities you can come up with and not include the narcissist. Any social event that you can think of, you don't always have to invite the narcissist. Take steps to discontinue to give a place to him or her in your life. Next thing you know, you won't be thinking about him or her so much anymore. A lot of us who have gone no contact, I do think that this is the time that certain memories can come up more so than they did when you were actually involved with the narcissist. Well, again, I want to encourage you to incorporate some new activities. We're creatures of habit. So they say, actually, I've heard that it can take 90 days to break a habit. So for the next 3 months, I'd like to encourage you all to exclude the narcissist and include new activities into your life. So this is one great way to discontinue thinking about the narcissist as much. References and resources. You can find these links in the description box below under references and resources and slide presentation. Here's one video that I did quite a while ago, and it's about complex PTSD, trauma, and narcissistic abuse, and how all of that is tied together. That particular video is a 3-part. The link here is the last part of the video. I'm Luminousz Star. I wish everyone happy holidays, and stay tuned for more videos.